Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Defiance, watching the stars through the massive view screen. The ship was humanity's pride, built with the best technology Earth could create. Jake had served in space for 20 years, but he had never seen anything like what was coming through the communication system. The holographic display flickered to life, showing 7 alien figures. The one in the center was tall and thin, with gray skin and large black eyes. This was Ambassador Zethkar of the Corvani Empire. The other 6 represented different alien species that made up the Galactic Consortium. Humans of Earth, Zethkar said in perfect English, his voice cold and mechanical. We are the Galactic Consortium. We control most of the galaxy. Your species has expanded too far and too fast. You have colonies in 12 star systems. This ends now. Jake felt his jaw tighten. He had expected this day might come, but not so soon. Humanity had been exploring space for only 50 years. They had built colonies on good planets and traded peacefully with any aliens they met. Now it seemed that peace was over. You have 30 Earth days to abandon all colonies beyond your home system, the alien continued. You will also submit to consortium rule. Your ships will be registered with us. Your trade will be controlled by us. Your expansion will stop. Forever. One of the other aliens, a creature that looked like a giant insect, stepped forward. If you refuse, we will destroy every human colony. Then we will destroy Earth itself. This is not a negotiation. This is your only warning. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in complete silence. Jake looked around at his crew. They were all staring at him, waiting for orders. These were good people, trained soldiers who had served with him for years. He could see the fear in their eyes, but also determination. Sir, said Commander Ryan Blake, the ship's chief engineer, what are our orders? Jake was quiet for a moment. He knew that back on Earth, the leaders were probably panicking. 30 days to give up everything humanity had built in space. It was impossible. But fighting seemed just as impossible. The consortium had thousands of ships and weapons beyond human understanding. Send a message to Earth Command, Jake said finally. Tell them we received the ultimatum. Then get me Dr. Lisa Carter on the science deck. Dr. Carter arrived within minutes. She was a small woman with short brown hair and intelligent eyes. As Earth's top expert on alien technology, she had studied every piece of alien equipment that humans had ever found or traded for. I saw the transmission, she said before Jake could speak. This is about more than expansion. They're afraid of us. Afraid? Jake asked. They have a massive fleet. We have maybe 300 ships total. Lisa pulled up a holographic display, showing various alien technologies. Look at this. Every piece of alien tech we've acquired, our engineers have improved it. Ryan's team took their power cores and made them 30% more efficient. Our weapon systems use their energy technology, but hit twice as hard. Our shields use their force field tech, that lasts 3 times longer. Jake studied the display. It was true. Human engineers had a talent for taking alien inventions and making them better. They found ways to combine technologies that the aliens had never thought to put together. They're not afraid of our military, Lisa continued. They're afraid of our minds. We adapt. We innovate. We take their best ideas and improve on them. In 50 years, we've gone from flying primitive rockets to building ships that outperform theirs in many ways. Commander Blake nodded. Every alien species we trade with is amazed by what we do with their technology. The Corvani gave us energy weapons that they thought were perfect. We made them better within a year. Jake began to understand. The consortium wasn't trying to stop human aggression. They were trying to stop human progress. In another 50 years, humanity might have technology that could challenge the entire consortium. "What are our options?" Jake asked. "We could submit," Lisa said, "live under their control forever. Or we could fight and probably lose everything." "There's a third option," Ryan said quietly. "We could show them what happens when they threaten humanity." Jake looked at his engineer. "What do you mean?" "I've been working on something. A project that combines technologies from 6 different alien species. If we add 30 days and every resource humanity could spare, we might be able to build something that would make them think twice about attacking us." Lisa's eyes widened. "You're talking about the hybrid system project, the one that was theoretical." "It's not theoretical anymore," Ryan said. "I've run the calculations. It would work. But we'd need components from every human colony and the full cooperation of Earth's industrial capacity." Jake felt something he hadn't felt since the transmission started. Hope. "How long would it take?" "If we start now and everyone works together, we could have it ready in 29 days, Ryan replied. The Admiral made his decision. Send messages to all human colonies. Tell them to begin immediate evacuation procedures, but make it look like we're giving up. Meanwhile, gather every engineer, scientist, and military expert we have. We're going to send the consortium a message they'll never forget." Over the next few hours, Jake watched as his plan took shape. The colonies began their fake evacuations while secretly gathering the materials Ryan needed. Dr. Carter coordinated with scientists across human space, sharing every piece of alien technology they had studied. Captain Amy Rodriguez, leader of the experimental fighter squadron, brought her pilots to the Defiance. Her ships were already equipped with hybrid human-alien technology that made them faster and more maneuverable than anything the consortium had ever seen. Director Paul Kennedy, head of Earth's intelligence service, provided crucial information about consortium fleet movements and their military capabilities. His agents had been gathering intelligence for years, and now that information would be vital. As Jake stood on his bridge, watching the preparations begin, he realized that humanity was about to face its greatest test. In 30 days, they would either be free or extinct. But for the first time since receiving the ultimatum, he believed they had a chance. The consortium had made one critical mistake. They had given humanity time to prepare. And when humans were fighting for their survival, they were capable of incredible things. The countdown had begun. In 29 days, the galaxy would learn what happened when you threatened the human race. Director Paul Kennedy sat in his office deep beneath the surface of Earth, surrounded by screens showing intelligence reports from across the galaxy. The news was worse than he had feared. The consortium fleet was massive, bigger than anything humanity had ever imagined. 10,000 ships, he said to his assistant, Agent Maria Santos. They're pulling vessels from every member species. This isn't just a threat. They're planning to wipe us out completely. Maria pointed to one of the screens. Look at this breakdown. The Corvani are bringing their energy weapon specialists. The Zelfins have their best shield ships. The Vortani are deploying their bioorganic vessels. Each species is contributing their strongest military assets. Paul studied the data. Each consortium species had developed their technology in isolation, focusing on their own strengths. The Corvani had the most powerful energy weapons in the galaxy. The Zelfins had shields that could protect entire fleets. The Vortani grew their ships like living creatures, making them incredibly tough to destroy. They've never worked together like this before, Paul realized. Usually, they fight their wars separately. This time, they're combining all their best technologies into one massive fleet. Meanwhile, in the research labs on Earth's moon, Dr. Lisa Carter was making discoveries that would change everything. She had gathered the best scientists from every human colony, and they were working around the clock to understand alien technology. Look at this, she said to her team, pointing to a holographic display. The Corvani energy weapons are incredibly powerful, but they use a lot of energy. The Zelfin shields are nearly unbreakable, but they need constant power to maintain. The Vortani bioships can heal themselves, but they're weak against certain types of attacks. Dr. Helen Murphy, a physicist from the Mars colony, nodded. Each species has optimized their technology for one specific purpose. They're incredibly good at what they do, but they have obvious weaknesses. But humans don't think that way, Lisa continued. We see a powerful weapon that uses too much energy. And we ask, what if we combined it with a more efficient power source? We see strong shields that drain power quickly. And we think, what if we used a bioorganic power system that regenerates itself? The breakthrough came when Lisa realized that human engineers had been unconsciously creating hybrid systems for years. Every time they worked with alien technology, they found ways to combine it with other systems to make it better. Commander Ryan Blake was proving this theory in his engineering workshops. He had taken components from 6 different alien technologies and was building something that had never existed before. The project was so secret that only a few people knew about it. The power core uses Corvani energy technology, he explained to Admiral Morrison during a private meeting. But we've modified it with Zelfin power regulation systems. The result is a power source that's twice as efficient as anything either species has ever built. What about weapons? Jake asked. We're combining Corvani energy weapons with Vortani bio-targeting systems. The bioneural interface allows our weapons to adapt in real time, changing their frequency and power output to match whatever they're shooting at. No shield in the galaxy can adapt fast enough to stop them. Jake was amazed. And the consortium species never thought to combine their technologies? They can't, Ryan explained. Each species thinks their way is the only right way. The Corvani believe pure energy is the answer to everything. The Zelfins think defensive shields are most important. The Vortani trust only biological systems. They've been locked into these patterns for thousands of years. While the engineers worked on new technology, Captain Amy Rodriguez was testing the first hybrid fighter craft. Her squadron had been selected to pilot the experimental ships because they were the best pilots humanity had ever produced. This is incredible, Amy said over the communication system as she flew through a test course. The ship responds to my thoughts almost before I think them. The bioneural interface connects directly to my brain, making the ship feel like part of my body. Her wingman, Lieutenant Tom Bradley, was equally excited. The stealth system is amazing. We're using Corvani energy dampeners, Zelfin phase technology, and Vortani biocamouflage all at once. I can barely detect your ship on sensors. And you're right next to me. The test flights proved that the hybrid technology worked even better than anyone had hoped. The new fighters could outmaneuver any known alien ship. Their weapons could penetrate any known defense, and their stealth systems made them nearly invisible. But the real breakthrough came when Dr. Carter discovered humanity's greatest advantage. She was studying communication patterns between different consortium species when she realized something important. They can't adapt, she told Admiral Morrison during an emergency meeting. Look at these battle records from consortium wars. Each species follows the same tactics they've used for centuries. The Corvani always attack with energy weapons in formation. The Zelfins always form defensive walls with their shields. The Vortani always use swarm tactics with their bioships. And humans? Jake asked. Humans adapt constantly. We learn from every battle, every mistake, every success. We change our tactics based on what we're fighting. We improvise when things go wrong. We combine different approaches depending on the situation. Lisa pulled up historical records of human military conflicts. Look at our own history. We've fought wars on land, sea, air, and space. We've used every type of weapon ever invented. We've adapted to fight in deserts, jungles, mountains, and the vacuum of space. No other species in the galaxy has that kind of adaptability. The realization changed everything. Humanity's advantage wasn't just better technology. It was their ability to think differently, to adapt quickly, to find new solutions to old problems. Director Kennedy's intelligence network was already putting this knowledge to use. His agents were studying consortium military doctrine, looking for weaknesses that human unpredictability could exploit. Every consortium species has rigid command structures, he reported. Their admirals follow predetermined battle plans. They can't change tactics quickly because they need approval from multiple levels of command. But human commanders are trained to make decisions in real time. As the deadline approached, the pieces of humanity's plan came together. The fake evacuations had successfully hidden the movement of crucial materials to secret construction sites. The hybrid technology was being installed in every human ship, from the smallest courier vessel to the largest battleship. But the most important discovery was yet to come. Dr. Carter's team had found a way to network all human ships together using bioneural technology adapted from the Vortani. This would allow the entire human fleet to operate as a single organism, sharing information and coordinating attacks instantly. It's never been done before, Lisa explained to the assembled human leaders. Each ship becomes part of a larger intelligence. Individual captains can still make decisions, but they have access to information from every other ship in the fleet. Admiral Morrison realized the implications. The consortium species can't do this because they don't trust each other. Each species wants to maintain control of their own ships. But humans can work together because we're all the same species. With 5 days left until the deadline, humanity was ready. They had ships equipped with hybrid technology that surpassed anything in the galaxy. They had weapons that could adapt any defense. They had pilots trained to use bioneural interfaces that made them one with their ships. Most importantly, they had something the consortium had never faced: a species that could work together, adapt quickly, and fight with the desperation of those who had nothing left to lose. The countdown continued, but now humanity was no longer counting down to surrender. They were counting down to war. The consortium fleet arrived at the edge of human space exactly 30 days after delivering their ultimatum. Admiral Zethkar stood on the bridge of his flagship, the massive dreadnought Eternal Dominion, watching his sensors display the approaching human fleet. Only 300 ships, said his tactical officer, a Zelfin named Krelseth. They appear to be retreating toward Proxima Station. Zethkar studied the display with satisfaction. The human fleet looked pathetic compared to his 10,000 vessels. Each consortium ship was larger and more heavily armed than anything humanity had ever built. This would be a quick victory. Open a communication channel, he ordered. Let us accept their surrender with dignity. But when the channel opened, it wasn't a human surrender that came through. Instead, Admiral Jake Morrison appeared on the screen, standing calmly on the bridge of the Defiance. Consortium fleet, Jake said, his voice steady and confident. You are entering human space without permission. Turn around and leave immediately, or face the consequences. Zethkar couldn't believe what he was hearing. Human Admiral, you are outnumbered 30-1. Your species has 30 minutes to surrender unconditionally, or we will destroy every ship in your fleet. Jake smiled, and something in that smile made Zethkar uncomfortable. You made one mistake, Ambassador. You gave us 30 days to prepare. Now you're going to learn what happens when you threaten humanity. The transmission ended, leaving the EO. Consortium fleet in confusion. Zethkar looked around his bridge at the officers from 6 different species. They were all experienced warriors who had conquered dozens of worlds, but none of them had ever faced anything like this. "Begin the attack," Zethkar ordered. "Destroy their fleet." The Battle of Proxima Station began with the Consortium fleet advancing in perfect formation. The Corvani ships moved to the front, their massive energy weapons charging for the first strike. The Zelfin vessels formed a protective barrier with their shields. The Vortani bioships swarmed around the flanks, ready to overwhelm any survivors. But before they could fire a single shot, something impossible happened. The human fleet simply vanished. Where did they go? Zethkar demanded, staring at his empty sensors. "Unknown, sir," replied his sensor officer. "They were there one moment, gone the next. Our instruments can't detect them." Then Captain Amy Rodriguez struck with her fighter squadron. The hybrid ships appeared out of nowhere, phasing through the consortium's sensor grid like ghosts. There, bio-neural targeting systems locked onto the Corvani command ships while their adaptive weapons adjusted to penetrate the enemy shields. The first Corvani dreadnought exploded in a massive fireball, its crew never knowing what hit them. The second and third ships followed within seconds, their powerful shields useless against weapons that adapted faster than they could adjust. "Impossible!" Zethkar shouted. "No ship can penetrate Corvani shields that quickly." Amy's voice came over the communication system, calm and professional. "You're right. No alien ship can do that. But these aren't alien ships. They're human ships, built with the best technology from all your species combined." The fighter squadron vanished again, leaving the consortium fleet in chaos. The Corvani ships tried to track them with their sensors, but the human stealth technology was too advanced. It combined Corvani energy dampening, Zelthan phase shifting, and Vortani biocamouflage in ways that made detection nearly impossible. Commander Ryan Blake's engineering teams had prepared specific countermeasures for each consortium species. Against the Corvani, they deployed shields that absorbed energy weapons and converted the power to strengthen their own systems. Against the Zelthans, they used bio-neural viruses that confused their shield generators. Against the Vortani, they employed quantum disruption fields that interfered with bio-organic systems. "Their weapons are adapting to our defenses," reported a Zelthan captain as his ship's shields failed. "Every time we adjust our shields, the weapons change to match." Dr. Lisa Carter monitored the battle from Earth, coordinating the technological responses in real time. The bio-neural network allowed her to analyze consortium tactics instantly and deploy countermeasures before the enemy could adapt. "They're trying to form a defensive formation," she reported to Admiral Morrison. "But they're doing it exactly like they did in the Vortani Wars 300 years ago, sending coordinates to all ships now." The human fleet reappeared, but not where the consortium expected. Instead of attacking the strong defensive formation, they struck at the supply ships and command vessels hiding behind the main fleet. Hybrid technology allowed human ships to phase in and out of normal space, appearing anywhere on the battlefield without warning. Admiral Morrison's tactical approach combined elements from every period of human military history. His ships used ancient naval tactics to outmaneuver the enemy, atmospheric fighter techniques to exploit weaknesses, and innovative space combat strategies that the consortium had never seen before. "They're not following any known tactical doctrine," observed a Vortani commander as his bioships were systematically destroyed by weapons that seemed to anticipate their every move. "They change their approach constantly. How do we counter tactics that keep changing?" The answer was that they couldn't. The consortium species had spent thousands of years perfecting their individual fighting styles, but they had never learned to adapt quickly to new situations. Their commanders were trained to follow established patterns, not to improvise in real time. Lieutenant Tom Bradley led a squadron of hybrid fighters against a group of Zelthan shield ships. His weapons analyzed the shield frequency in microseconds, then adjusted to pass through the barriers like they weren't there. The Zelthan ships exploded one after another, their impenetrable defenses proving worthless against adaptive human technology. "Sir," reported Krulsith to Admiral Zethkar, "we've lost 40% of our fleet. The humans are using our own. Technology's against us, but in ways we never imagined possible." Zethkar stared at the battle display in disbelief. His massive fleet, which had conquered half the galaxy, was being systematically destroyed by a force 1/30th its size. The humans weren't just winning, they were making it look easy. "All ships full retreat," he ordered. "We must regroup and No," interrupted Jake Morrison, his voice coming over the consortium communication channel. "There will be no retreat. You came here to destroy humanity. Now you get to see what happens when humanity fights back." The human fleet moved to surround the consortium ships, but something strange happened. Instead of continuing the attack, they simply stopped. The surviving consortium vessels found themselves trapped, but not destroyed. "What are you waiting for?" Zethkar demanded. "If you're going to destroy us, do it." Admiral Morrison's voice was calm but carried a threat that chilled every alien on the battlefield. "We're not going to destroy you, Ambassador. We're going to let you go home. You're going to tell the consortium what happened here today. You're going to explain how humanity took your best technology and made it better. You're going to describe how your massive fleet was defeated by a handful of human ships." Amy Rodriguez's fighter appeared directly in front of Zethkar's flagship, its weapons trained on the bridge. "But most importantly," she added, "you're going to deliver humanity's message to the galaxy." Director Paul Kennedy's voice joined the sing. "Communication from Earth. Tell them this. We tried to live in peace. We traded fairly and respected other species' territories. But you chose war. You threatened to destroy our colonies and our homeworld. Now you know what we're capable of." Doctor. Carter's voice was the last to speak, and her words carried the weight of scientific certainty. "We have weapons that can destroy entire star systems. We have ships that can appear anywhere in the galaxy without warning. We have the technology to make your species extinct. But we also have something you don't understand: restraint." The human fleet began to withdraw, leaving the shattered consortium forces floating in space. But before they left completely, Admiral Morrison delivered humanity's final message. One more attack on any human colony, one more ultimatum, one more threat against our people, and we will not show restraint again. Next time, we won't just defeat your fleets. We'll sterilize your worlds. We'll erase your species from the galaxy. And we'll do it with technology you gave us, improved by human ingenuity. The transmission ended, leaving the consortium fleet alone with their defeat. They had come to destroy humanity, and instead had learned that humanity was now the most dangerous species in the galaxy, that the Battle of Proxima Station was over. The real war was just beginning. The news of humanity's victory spread across the galaxy like wildfire. On the consortium capital world of Corvith Prime, emergency sessions were called as the surviving ships from the Battle of Proxima Station limped home with their impossible. Tail, Ambassador Zethkar, stood before the full consortium council, his gray skin even paler than usual. Around him sat representatives from all 7 member species, their faces showing expressions ranging from disbelief to outright terror. "You're telling us that 300 human ships defeated 10,000 of our best vessels?" asked Counselor Vexthil of the Zelthan Empire, her crystalline body reflecting the chamber's lights. "Not defeated," Zethkar replied quietly. "Destroyed. 90% of our fleet is gone. The humans didn't just win the battle. They made it look easy. They..." Insectoid representative from the Kethmari hive clicked his mandibles in agitation. "Impossible. Our intelligence reports showed that humans had primitive technology. They've only been in space for 50 years. That's what made them so dangerous, Zethkar explained. They took our technology and improved it. They combined systems from different species in ways we never imagined. Their ships use Corvani energy cores with Zelfin shield generators and Vortani bioneural interfaces. The result is technology that surpasses anything any of us have ever built. The council chamber erupted in angry voices. Some members demanded immediate retaliation, others suggested negotiation, and still others proposed withdrawing from human space entirely. The unity that had held the consortium together for thousands of years was cracking. Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Lisa Carter was preparing for the most important diplomatic mission in human history. She had been chosen to lead humanity's first official contact with the consortium since the battle. Her team included experts in alien psychology, linguistics, and culture. Remember, she told her team as they prepared to board the diplomatic ship Harmony, we're not going there to gloat or threaten. We're going to establish the new rules of engagement. Humanity will no longer ask permission to exist in the galaxy. Captain Ben Morris, the pilot of the Harmony, checked his instruments one final time. The ship was equipped with the latest hybrid technology, making it one of the most advanced vessels ever built. Its bioneural systems allowed it to adapt to any situation, while its quantum communication array could contact Earth instantly from anywhere in the galaxy. Course laid in for Corvith Prime, he reported. We'll arrive in 3 days. As the diplomatic mission departed, Admiral Jake Morrison was overseeing the creation of the Human Defense Corps. The new military organization would be responsible for protecting human interests throughout the galaxy. Unlike the rigid hierarchy of the consortium military, the Defense Corps was designed to be flexible and adaptive. Each squadron will be able to operate independently, Jake explained to the newly appointed Corps commanders. You'll have this authority to make decisions in real time without waiting for orders from Earth. The bioneural network will keep everyone connected, but individual commanders will have the freedom to adapt to local situations. Captain Amy Rodriguez had been promoted to lead the Elite Guardian Squadron, a unit of hybrid fighters that could reach any point in human space within hours. Her pilots were the best humanity had to offer, trained to use bioneural interfaces. That made them one with their ships. Our job isn't to start fights, she explained to her pilots during a briefing. Our job is to end them quickly. If anyone threatens human colonies or trade routes, we show up and remind them what happened. At Proxima Station, the Guardian Squadron's first mission came sooner than expected. A group of Kethmari raiders had attacked a human mining operation in the Centauri system, apparently believing that humanity was too weak to respond effectively. Amy's squadron appeared in the Centauri system within 6 hours of the attack. The Kethmari ships were still looting the mining station when 12 human fighters phased into normal space around them. Kethmari vessels, Amy said over the communication channel. You have attacked human citizens and stolen human property. You have 30 seconds to surrender or be destroyed. The Kethmari commander made the mistake of thinking he could fight. His ships were fast and maneuverable, designed for hit-and-run tactics. But they had never faced opponents with bioneural interfaces and adaptive weapons. The battle lasted exactly 90 seconds. When it was over, the Kethmari ships were floating debris, and the human miners were safe. Word of the Guardian Squadron's response spread quickly through the galaxy's criminal networks. While the military established humanity's reputation, Director Paul Kennedy's intelligence network was gathering information about the consortium's internal problems. The defeat at Proxima Station had shattered the Alliance's confidence, and member species were beginning to question their leaders. 3 species have already withdrawn from the consortium military, reported Agent Maria Santos during a briefing. The Veltar, the Noxani, and the Hefreet have all recalled their fleets and are considering independent treaties with humanity. "What about the core members?" Paul asked. "The Corvani are calling for revenge, but they don't have the ships to back it up. The Zelthans want to negotiate. The Vortani are split between their military and civilian leaders. The consortium is falling apart." The intelligence proved accurate when Dr. Carter arrived at Corvith Prime. The consortium capital was in chaos, with protests in the streets and emergency sessions running continuously in the government buildings. Carter's meeting with the Consortium Council was unlike any diplomatic session in galactic history. Instead of humans asking for permission or making concessions, she was dictating terms to the galaxy's former superpower. "Humanity will no longer recognize consortium authority over our colonies or trade routes," she announced to the assembled representatives. "We will establish diplomatic relations with any species that wishes peaceful contact. We will defend ourselves against any aggression with whatever force is necessary." Counselor Vextel tried to interrupt. "You cannot simply ignore galactic law. The consortium has maintained order for millennia. Your law," Carter replied calmly, "was based on the threat of force. You controlled other species because you had the biggest fleet. Well, now humanity has proven that size doesn't matter. Technology, adaptability, and determination matter. And in all three areas, humans are superior." The meeting continued for hours, with Carter systematically dismantling every argument the consortium made. When they claimed authority based on age, she pointed out that their ancient ways had been defeated by 50 years of human innovation. When they claimed superior numbers, she reminded them of Proxima Station. When they claimed the right to control trade routes, she showed them documentation of human colonies that were already bypassing consortium restrictions. "But what do you want?" asked Zethkar finally. "If you're not going to submit to our authority, and you're not going to destroy us, what is humanity's goal?" Carter smiled, the same kind of smile that Admiral Morrison had shown before the battle. "We want to be left alone. We want to explore, colonize, and trade without asking anyone's permission. We want to develop our technology and share it with species that treat us as equals. We want to live in peace. And if we refuse, then you'll discover what total war means," Carter replied. "The battle at Proxima Station was a demonstration of restraint. We could have destroyed your entire fleet, but we chose to let survivors escape. We could have followed your ships back to your homeworlds and sterilized every planet in consortium space, but we chose mercy." She stood up, preparing to leave. "But understand this clearly. Mercy is a choice, not a weakness. One more attack on humanity, one more ultimatum, one more threat against our people, and we will choose differently. Next time, there will be no survivors to carry the message home." As Carter's ship departed Corvith Prime, the Consortium Council was left to contemplate their new reality. The galaxy's balance of power had shifted permanently. Humanity was no longer a young species to be controlled or destroyed. They were now the dominant power, and they had made their position clear. The age of the consortium was ending. The age of humanity had begun, but the real test was yet to come. Some species would accept the new order peacefully. Others would try to challenge humanity's growing power. And a few would discover that when humans said total eradication, they meant exactly what they said, that the galaxy was about to learn that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their military. It was their ability to keep their promises, whether those promises were for peace or for war. 5 years had passed since the Battle of Proxima Station, and the galaxy was a different place. Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the observation deck of Harmony Station, a massive space facility built jointly by humans and their new allies. Through the transparent walls, he could see ships from dozens of different species docking and trading peacefully. The consortium as humanity had known it no longer existed. The old alliance had shattered within months of their defeat, with member species, choosing different paths forward. Some had joined humanity's growing alliance, others had declared neutrality, and a few had tried to maintain their independence through isolation. Commander Ryan Blake walked up beside Jake, carrying a datapad with the latest reports from across human space. "The new hybrid production facilities are running at full capacity," he said. "We're now producing more advanced ships in a month than the entire consortium built in a year." Jake nodded, watching a Veltar cargo ship dock next to a human transport. The Veltar had been among the first species to leave the consortium and establish independent relations with humanity. Their crystal-based technology, combined with human innovation, had created some remarkable new inventions. "Any word from the diplomatic missions?" Jake asked. "Dr. Carter reports success with the Noxani Federation," Ryan replied. "They're interested in joining our alliance. The Hefreet Empire is still considering our offer, but their leadership is divided. The human alliance, as it had become known, was very different from the old consortium. Instead of ruling through fear and control, humanity offered partnership and mutual benefit. Species that joined gained access to hybrid technology and protection from the Guardian Squadron, but they kept their independence and their own governments. Captain Amy Rodriguez and her Guardian Squadron had become legendary throughout the galaxy. Her pilots could appear anywhere within human space within hours, making them the ultimate peacekeeping force. More importantly, everyone knew that an attack on any alliance member would bring swift retaliation. The squadron's reputation had been tested several times over the years. Pirates, raiders, and even some former consortium holdouts had tried to challenge human authority. Each time, the result was the same: swift, decisive victory followed by a clear message that aggression would not be tolerated. Dr. Lisa Carter had become humanity's chief ambassador to the galaxy, establishing the Department of Galactic Relations. Her team worked with dozens of species, sharing technology and building trade agreements. The hybrid technology that had once been humanity's secret weapon was now being shared freely with their allies, creating a renaissance of innovation across the galaxy. The latest breakthrough came from the Joint Research Station at Kepler. Lisa reported during a meeting with Earth's leadership. Human engineers working with Veltar scientists have developed a new type of faster-than-light communication. We can now send messages across the galaxy instantly, instead of waiting weeks for ships to carry them. Director Paul Kennedy's intelligence network had evolved into something completely different from its original purpose. Instead of gathering secrets about enemies, it now facilitated communication and cooperation between alliance members. The network helped coordinate responses to natural disasters, scientific discoveries, and even cultural exchanges. 15 species have requested membership in the alliance this month, Paul reported. Word is spreading that joining humanity offers better protection and more opportunities than the old consortium ever did. But the real test of humanity's new position came when Ambassador Zeethkar arrived at Harmony Station, carrying a message that shocked everyone who heard it. The proud Corvani leader, who had once demanded humanity's surrender, was now asking for help. The Corvani colonies in the Outer Rim, he explained to Dr. Carter during a private meeting. Our technology is outdated, our ships are falling apart, and our people are suffering. We request humanitarian aid from the Human Alliance. Carter studied the alien who had once threatened to destroy Earth. Zeethkar looked older, his gray skin more wrinkled, his large eyes showing a weariness that spoke of defeat and desperation. "Why should we help you?" she asked. 5 years ago, you wanted to wipe out our species. "Because," Zeethkar said quietly, "you are better than we were. The consortium ruled through fear and oppression. You rule through cooperation and mutual benefit. We have seen how you treat your allies, how you share your technology, how you protect the weak. We were wrong about humanity. The request sparked intense debate among human leadership. Some argued that the Corvani deserved their fate after threatening humanity. Others believed that showing mercy would demonstrate human superiority more clearly than any military victory. Admiral Morrison made the deciding argument during a council meeting. If we help them, we prove that humanity keeps its word about both war and peace. If we abandon them, we become no better than the consortium. The decision to provide aid to the failing Corvani colonies marked a turning point in galactic history. Human supply ships arrived with food, medicine, and technology. Human engineers worked alongside Corvani technicians to repair their failing infrastructure. Human doctors treated Corvani patients without regard for past conflicts. Captain Ben Morris, who had piloted many of the aid missions, described the impact. "You should see the faces of the Corvani civilians when our ships arrive. They know we could have let them suffer or die, but instead we're helping them rebuild. It's changing how they think about humanity." The humanitarian mission's success led to something unprecedented. Former consortium species began requesting to join the human alliance not out of fear, but out of genuine admiration for human values. Meanwhile, Commander Blake's engineering teams continued pushing the boundaries of what was possible with hybrid technology. The latest developments included ships that could phase between dimensions, weapons that could adapt to any defense in real time, and manufacturing systems that could create new technologies by combining alien science with human innovation. "We're not just building better ships," Ryan explained to Admiral Morrison. "We're creating entirely new categories of technology. The galaxy has never seen anything like what we're capable of now." But humanity's greatest achievement wasn't technological. It was social. The Alliance had created a galactic community where different species could work together as equals, sharing knowledge and resources for mutual benefit. Captain Rodriguez, now promoted to Admiral of the Guardian Corps, oversaw security for dozens of worlds and hundreds of trade routes. Her forces had grown from a single squadron to a fleet of thousands, but they rarely needed to fight. The mere knowledge of their existence kept the peace. "We've achieved something the consortium never could," she reflected during a meeting with other Alliance leaders. "We've created peace through strength, not fear. Species join us because they want to, not because they have to." The transformation was most visible at places like Harmony Station, where beings from dozens of different worlds worked and lived together. Human children played alongside young aliens, learning their languages and customs. Scientists from different species collaborated on projects that benefited everyone. Merchants traded goods and ideas freely across species lines. Director Kennedy often walked through the station's corridors, amazed by what humanity had accomplished. 5 years ago, we were facing extinction, he told his aide, Agent Santos. Now we're the foundation of a new galactic civilization. The final proof of humanity's success came in an unexpected form. A delegation of young Corvani arrived at Earth, requesting permission to study at human universities. Among them was Zethkar's own daughter, who wanted to learn human engineering techniques. "My father told me about the war," she explained to Dr. Carter. "He said humanity could have destroyed us, but chose mercy instead. I want to understand how a species can be both powerful enough to threaten total destruction and wise enough to choose peace." As Jake Morrison looked out at the bustling activity around Harmony Station, he reflected on how far humanity had come. They had faced the threat of extinction and responded not with hatred or revenge, but with innovation, determination, and ultimately, compassion. The galaxy's message to humanity had been clear: submit or die. Humanity's response had been equally clear: we will neither submit nor die, but we will defend ourselves and those who stand with us. Now, 5 years later, the galaxy had learned the truth about humanity. They were indeed capable of total destruction, but they preferred total creation. They could erase civilizations from existence, but they chose instead to build new ones. They had the power to rule through fear, but they chose to lead through example. Earth's final message to the galaxy had been heard and understood. Humanity would not be conquered, controlled, or destroyed, but neither would they become conquerors themselves. They would be protectors, innovators, and builders of a better future for all species willing to live in peace. The age of the consortium was over. The age of cooperation had begun. And at its center stood humanity, the species that had turned a threat of total eradication into a promise of total transformation. As young beings from dozens of species played together in the station's parks, using toys that incorporated technology. From across the galaxy, Admiral Morrison knew that humanity had achieved its